Welcome back. So I want to talk about Dallas as we get closer to whatever's going to happen. And as going to go, well, we're not going to play till October. Well, every day we get closer to October, so we're closer. So Dallas is an interesting team, thanks to their run to the Stanley Cup Final. And of course, last year against St. Louis, they brought them right to the brink, but they weren't able to close out the deal. My biggest concern with Dallas has been for years now scoring. And I don't know that that's necessarily not going to be a concern this season, but I do have some concerns. And that won't surprise anybody who's followed this channel for any period of time. And I don't think that I'm too harsh on Dallas, but I understand why that's out there. People say that I am. It's just when you see a team that regularly has trouble scoring goals, it's tough to say, okay, so they're really, really hot and cold. I'm going to go ahead and bet they're going to be really hot during a playoff run, and they're going to get back to the Stanley Cup Final and win it. I don't see that happening for them. In fact, when I look at this overall lineup, this team's going to have its struggles. Now, I'm very excited that Bonus is staying on as coach because I think he meshes very well with the guys. I think he's a good leader for them, and I think he's already proven he's the right guy for the job. But when you look at the players on the ice, they have $258,000 in cap space, though that will not be including Sagan's money coming off, Bishop's money, and I don't know about John's either. John's is listed on Cap Friendly as being on their depth chart. I don't know that he plays. After the amount of time he missed, and then he came back very briefly, but he still didn't look quite right, and then he's out again. I don't know that Johns plays. I don't know that Johns isn't going to end up being out for a while. This is, I would think it's career threatening at this point. So we'll see. I hope Johns plays. It will make a big difference to their depth chart if he plays because he's an important 5'6" defenseman. He is. But when you look at this team up front, down the middle, you notice right away Pavelski's likely the first line center. Is Joe Pavelski at this stage in his career a first line center? That's a debate to be had. And you put him between Ben and Radulov. Ben's coming off of his worst offensive season in a very, very long time. And Radulov hit and miss along the way. So if that's their first line, I automatically have a concern there. Second line, likely Cogliano, I guess. Although Kiviranta could get that spot. Robertson's young could get that spot. Maybe Riley Tufte finally, delivers on why they drafted him in the first round. Very doubtful. But there's Kiviranta, there's Robertson in there, and yeah, but it was Cogliano, Faxa, and Gurianov, and I think Gurianov's guaranteed a spot in the top six. But Rope Hintz is going to push Faxa as well. Rope Hintz has more offensive upside than Faxa, but Faxa's better at faceoffs, and I think he's better defensively, so I'm not sure. We may end up with two number two centers. You may end up with both of them having roughly the same amount of time played, which makes some sense since Dallas, one of the reasons they were able to get to a Stanley Cup final this year was depth up front. And the fact that guys stepped in and they didn't look out of place when they did. So whether it's Cogliano or Kiviranta, whether it's Gurianov or Como, Fox or Hintz, whoever ends up on which line, I think they're okay there. And then you've got Robertson, Dickinson, and Pesek. I really like the addition of Mark Pesek. That's one of those stealth signings by Dallas that I think could pay off. Pesek was decent for Florida this year. And he can play forward, and he can play the blue line as well. So he's a fourth liner. He's a number 7 defenseman if you need him to be. So if a defenseman gets hurt during the game, you can put Pesek back on the blue line, and I don't think you get hurt by doing so. So it's interesting what he brings to the lineup, and we'll see how that works out. And then depth-wise, on the left, you've got Dowling, Gardner, Tufte, Masharon. And then down the middle, you've got Dellandrea. Ty Dellandrea could make this team. Ty Dellandrea could be the kind of offensive spark plug this team needs. Maybe you move him over onto the wing. The idea is, too, that I know Kiviranta became kind of a folk hero in the playoffs. I'm not sure how much offense we're going to get from Kiviranta on a regular basis. So Dellandrea can definitely push into a top 6 role if he wants it, and if he's qualified for it, because I do think they need another scorer. Karlstrom and Kiro are your depth there. And then on the right, Camano. And Nicholas Camano's shown that he's a good fill-in. And L'Esperance, who I love the name. It sounds to me like a nice, elegant Buick. The Buick L'Esperance. It sounds proper. I like the name. So it's one of those weird things, right? But I do think that their depth is good. These guys can all jump in. But again, where do all the goals come from? Without Sagan, and I know Sagan had a down year. By Sagan standards, he had a down year. But without him, who steps in and fills that role? And then, of course, he was invisible for parts of the playoffs, but now we understand why. He was nowhere near 100%. So then we get into the blue line. The blue line I am much more comfortable with when it comes to the Dallas Stars. So with the blue line, you've got Lindell, you've got Klingberg, you've got Alexiak, you've got Heiskanen. That top four, kind of fantastic. And it worked out really, really well during the playoffs, and it is a big part of the reason why Dallas, I thought, overachieved in the playoffs. And when they were hot, usually their defense was really pushing the play. Klingberg and Heiskanen, one or the others on the ice during 90% of the game. So it is one thing that I think keeps Dallas in the mix. One reason why I'm not writing Dallas off, I just don't see them as being a cup contender. Sekera and Fedun likely that bottom two, although Hanley stepped in the playoffs and was very good. Harley as well, I didn't think looked out of place in the games he played, so I could see a case where Sekera maybe gets pushed out of the lineup and maybe they look to move him if Harley's ready to go. And then you've got Fedun, who may get pushed out of the lineup if you move either Hanley or Harley over to the right side. I like Fedun. Fedun's a good fill-in. I don't know if I like him as a regular top six. And again, this all comes down to Stephen Johns. If Johns is capable of coming in and playing that spot on the right side, you've got a very good top six. Without him, it does drop a bit, only because I like what Johns brings. And then there's Ciccone. He's on the board as well. Pays to have depth. But goaltending is the big thing. So we always have this debate about Ben Bishop. And when Ben Bishop's playing really well, people will give him credit and say, yeah, he's a really good goaltender. And then when he's hurt, people are like, see, he's always hurt. He's always hurt. He's always hurt. He does get hurt regularly. And I remember looking way back to Sports Page. For people in Vancouver, you remember Sports Page. And Don Taylor, with the greatest line I ever heard, where Ben Bishop, and I want to say it was during warm-up in a game in St. Louis, he gets hurt, and he said Ben Bishop, who's 6'7", proves he's too tall for his legs. He just fell over. It was a nothing play, and he's hurt. And so every time Bishop gets hurt now, I say, oh, he's too tall for his legs. And it is an ongoing thing. But he's a great goaltender when he's healthy. He's fantastic. Now, Hudobin had the amazing run in the Stanley Cup Finals, through to the Stanley Cup Finals, and I thought he was good in the finals as well. Is Hudobin a starting goaltender? His resume would say no. His resume would tell you that he has never played a ton of games outside of that Stanley Cup Final run, and that was lightning in a bottle. I don't know if he can do it over a regular season. Is Jake Ottinger ready for an NHL job? His resume would tell you probably. Is he going to be capable of playing as much as he might need to? Because I'm going to say right now, if we have a squashed, say, 60-game schedule, and they're all back-to-backs, and rumor has it there's going to be a lot of back-to-backs, you're not going to be able to play Hudobin in back-to-backs over and over again. You're going to kill him. So Ottinger's going to need to play a lot. And what are you going to get with Ottinger? And that to me is the question mark. I think this coming season, it is more important than ever to have two capable goaltenders. And if you root for a team that hasn't got two top-flight goaltenders, could be a long season. So, for me, Hudobin and Ottinger are the question mark there. And I'm aware that their last names, KO, that's the KO tandem right there. But I kind of preferred it when it was the BK tandem. I mean, I'm partial to Burger King on the Canadian side of the border. Not so much on the American side. I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure what the difference is between the franchise in Canada and the States. But anyways, in Dallas's case, I do have question marks about their goaltending, and I do have question marks about where the goals are going to come from. Unless Ben has a big bounce back season, which he could, he should. He can't have another season where he has that many struggles with the puck. But I don't know this is a team with an overall number one center that I look at compared to any other team in the league, and I say, yep, they're going to be fine. But the overall depth tells you they can roll four lines. So it really depends on how you see it. If you view this as a team that's going to roll four lines and just use their overall numbers to overwhelm the opposition, They might be in contention. But if you look at their overall star power and everything, despite the team being named the Stars, I do wonder where Dallas is going to end up. So this is going to be a tough team for me to figure out when I start doing official previews and I start trying to figure out where I think everybody's going to finish in the divisions, because Dallas, I have no idea. They could finish first, they could finish fifth, they could finish sixth, they could finish second. I really don't know. Because, again, there are so many unknowns with both Sagan and Bishop out for what should be most of the season. It's going to rely on everybody else. It's going to rely on Hudobin, again, showing what he showed in the playoffs. And I hope he does. I really do. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And I apologize for anybody who every time they see this video you get that techno beat stuck in your head because you feel like you're at a rave. That's what this jersey definitely makes you think of. Thank you guys so much, though, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.